I bought some books. Of course, we need to talk about them. I have a little pile next to me over there. And I went used book shopping, and as always, I pick what sounds appealing to me when I see them, and a lot actually of them have like bright covers and spine, which definitely means something. But I've been trying to get out of my comfort zone, trying to read more literary fiction, things that might have been on lists of like winners or nominees for like Booker Prize or Pulitzers, but obviously I don't just buy them for the sake of it. I'm trying to get the ones that the premise sounds appealing, of course. But before I do that, actually there is one book that I have already read. I'm trying to get to a point where my background, my bookshelves represent my taste, and I swear I own that book, okay? I refuse to double check because I'm convinced and I don't want to be proven wrong. But The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I have read that book. I have really loved that book. I think this is her best writing in terms of the prose in this one. And the fact that this is the specific book that disappeared from my shelf is so funny because of the premise. You're following Addie LaRue, who was supposed to get married. She didn't want to, so she runs away in the woods, make a deal with the devil. And she's been tricked, and now people can't remember her, but she can't die either. So as soon as she leaves the room, people forget about her. You can imagine how that would torment you over centuries. I wanted to own this book. Now I do. Possibly again. It better not disappear this time. If it does, I mean, I'm gonna give up at that point, but now I have it. I have proof I have it. Let's go through the shorter ones because I'm currently behind on my Goodreads reading challenge, which not a big deal. I just actually filmed a reading vlog where I was trying to catch up, not by reading short books, but I was reading a lot of mystery thriller horror, which they tend to just be faster to go through. But I might have to do it a second time, so if any of these shorter ones sound good, you would like a review, let me know and I'll try to prioritize them. So the first one is called Small Boat, and actually it's a French book called Naufrage, which I wanted to buy the French copy because I wanted to support the author, but this edition, mass market paperback, $25. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, especially because look at the size of this book. I can't do it. I feel like book prices are absolutely insane. We're going to come back to that at the end. I have one more to talk about, but insane. So I got this edition, which I think is prettier too. But this one was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize for 2025. So that's what brought it to my attention, plus that cover. But then the premise does sound appealing. Basically, the author talks about like morality and crimes that people do. There is this boat that is going from France to the UK, and it's carrying migrants. And the boat capsizes, and when they make calls for help, the person, which I think that's the person we're following, basically tells them, no, it's not our responsibility, it's the other country. So most of them die, and I think there's only 2 people that are still. 27 people died and 2 only survived. So I think this is going to be, yes, short, but really impactful. So I think I wanted to read this very soon. And again, yes, it will help me catch up with my goal, but at the same time, the premise sounds really appealing. The other one is called It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over, which, yes, short, yes, bright, but the premise. I think the story starts when the main character dies, which I love that premise. I've only read a few books because it's not super common, but I think this is happening in the afterlife, and I think it's like literary fiction horror. But from what I've seen, people are very divided if they loved it or hated it. I didn't want to look too much into it because the back is so vague, but again, that premise sounds so appealing to me that yes, even the title. Okay, I need to know. This is only 122 pages, so yes. I'm basically looking for more books that will leave me staring at my wall, not knowing what to do with myself. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far. The next one, I just did a list. I was going through a list of the like most popular horror books from the last decade according to Goodreads, and this, I noticed that I had put this on my I want to read list years and years ago. And I finally found a copy, or remembered that I wanted to read this, really. This is Post-apocalyptic, I think. I went on a huge kick reading so many of them, got burnt out, stopped, and then I've been starting again and finally finding some that I actually like. So I don't know where this one is going to lie, because it is from the same author that wrote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which I was kind of so-so about. But this one, main character, it seems... I feel like some post-apocalyptic book feel almost cozy, right? It's like just a group of people trying to survive. Things are cool for a while and then, you know, things happen. But it sounds like it's like that. It's only 2 people together. They're isolated on a farm, but then one day a stranger from the city appears and tells them that they have to go on a mission, like one of them has to, but the other one left behind is not going to be left alone. It was kind of vague. I don't know, like if it's a copy of her friend it's saying. I don't know. But again, this is on the shorter side. I apparently wanted to read it years ago, and now I can. So if you've read this, let me know. Oh, this one was also apparently shortlisted for a prize, but I mean, there are so many prizes. So this is called Sunburn. I think this is a summer read, okay? Not just for the title, but the premise. It's like a romance, like sapphic romance, and it's set in the 90s in this small conservative Irish town. So that's what I mean, like not really historical fiction, but it's definitely like a very set social commentary. And I believe one of them will have to decide what she does with her life. Is she going to do what people expect of her? Is she going to stay in that romance? We'll see. The reviews I've seen were really positive. Next, I haven't read anything by this author, but I wanted to try her. This is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and it is like a classic, like a modern classic, and I think it's more like slice of life kind of situation. The background tells you absolutely nothing about the story, but it just says that it's a beloved American classic about a young girl's coming of age in the turn of the 20th century. But I'm gonna be honest, this was also very appealing to me, but there's like 500,000 ratings on Goodreads, and like it's really positive, which like older books that are like classics that are well rated, I'm always curious to see, because I feel like anything people have to read in school is going to be badly rated. Basically, I'm curious, and I've been really sensitive about how floppy a book is, because let me grab it. Okay, it was really bad. Last month I read this, and the book is fine, but the book isn't, you know? Like the content is fine, but this is the worst book I have read. I hated every second I had to hold this in my hand. It's so stiff, and it's like those really tall ones too. Where's the other one? Like it's a really tall paperback, and it's so stiff. So yeah, listen, I use Bookshop, so I'm not being too picky about certain things, but a good floppy book is so much better than the stiff ones, which is usually why I don't like the mass market paperbacks, but they're not always like this. Anyway, it feels like I'm gonna enjoy actually reading it. I've been burnt. Next, nonfiction. Okay, it's always hard to find good used nonfiction, to be honest, but this one is actually fairly recent, and it was in really good condition. 2023. Lepidarium? The Secret Lives of Stone. Stay with me. Recently, like 2 years ago, I think I read a book about poisons, and I really liked the format that it was like, I don't know, like 10, 15 of them, and each of them, it was talking about the poison, but then a story of how it was used to murder someone. And I thought this had similar vibes. It's not about murders, obviously, but you talk about like, you pick a stone. There you go. You pick a stone and then you get a story about it, but this one is more like art, philosophy, geography, a story basically. And I thought this could be different. I feel like a lot of people are obsessed with stones, so this might be a good thing for you. I wasn't really a child that would pick up rocks in their pockets, but I still thought this could be interesting. So eventually I'll go through this slowly. It's not something I'm going to binge read, but that was different. I like to learn things. Speaking of which, okay, I almost forgot. Sometimes I forget that I have free will. Actually, no, it's the opposite. Sometimes I remember that I have free will. I kept catching myself saying or thinking, oh, I'm just not good at that, and just accepting it, which, why would you say that? And like, I have, hopefully, another like 50 plus years on this earth. Why would I just accept that I'm bad at something forever? That's stupid. So, yes, this is a child's book, but it will be helpful. This is about all the countries, capitals, and flags of the world. I would say, oh, I'm bad at geography. And like, I would use in my head the excuse that, well, I was born in Canada. There's no country around us. So like, if you're born somewhere else, you'll just learn naturally the countries that are around you, right? It helps. This is a stupid excuse. It's ridiculous. So I caught myself. We're here, and I got this. So I'm going to be able to actually learn where the countries are, the flags and everything. I might not learn all the capitals, I'm gonna be honest, but I do want to learn the flags. Like, you'll see like shows and people being like, oh, name a country that starts with this letter, or what country has these colors in the flag, and I don't know. Or like, I'll just have like a general idea, but like, I'm terrible at it. So like, why would I just, again, accept that? It's silly. So yeah, once in a while, do remember that you have free will. Like, I've also been on a kick to just realize I can have hobbies. You know, I mean, obviously reading, but like, I can have more than one hobby. I don't have to like solely do the same hobby every day. You can rotate, it's fine. Anyway, clearly I've been going through things. We can talk about it in more details in reading vlogs, but the next batch are really colorful and they're all literary fiction, historical fiction, again, things that are outside of my comfort zone, but the premises sounded so good. First off, the sentence, which you can't read because someone put a giant freaking sticker on it, and whoever that is, I know it's actually not your fault, it's your boss, but whoever that is. So the sentence, yes, the cover, the spine caught my eyes, of course, but the premise, it is set in this small bookstore, which you're already winning points there. The worst customer that they have dies, and then she will haunt the store for a year. And you're following the worker there who was in prison, and yeah, she's going to be haunted for a year, which, okay. I don't feel like I associate that topic with literary fiction, but some books can be cool. I'm saying that because I've already started trying, and I tried audiobooks, and the one I tried, I got rid of it, returned it to library so quickly because slice of life, sometimes they really work, but sometimes they really don't work. Anyway, this one was also, was it a winner or something? I'm pretty sure I had seen that it was one of the nominees or winners for a prize that I've mentioned. So whatever, this one. The next one, equally as bright. Look at this, but do not be fooled. The premise is very dark for something so bright and fun. So this one, you're following two timelines, two different characters. One of them, the main character, is working at a art gallery, and it's during the AIDS crisis, epidemic. So people around him keep dying. So right there, okay, I'm gonna cry. The next one is set 30 years later, where the main character is trying to find her estranged daughter who is part of a cult, which, so yeah, apparently this is going to make me cry. I believe it. And the fact that it's so bright and yellow makes me laugh. But yes, I feel like more books should be bright and fun. Like, I know some people hate these kind of covers, but I like them better than the popular ones for like fantasy lately. They've been so bad, I can't distinguish them. Like, I haven't been buying a lot of fantasy because, first off, used bookstore, they don't have a lot of fantasy. They only have the old stuff and like they're horrible condition. But the newer ones, they all look the same to me. So colorful, yes. I'm so tired of like all black or all white book covers. Bring the colors. The next one was actually a recommendation. I have mentioned how much I loved I Who Have Never Known Men. I made it my mission for the last 2 to 3 years to just recommend it to everyone. I think we've succeeded at this point, and I've been trying to find things that could be even remotely similar. Maybe I could do a vlog because I have like 2 or 3 on my shelf that I'm supposed to read that I haven't. But this one is supposed to be possibly a little similar, or similar themes, honestly. As long as the book is like speculative fiction and makes me reconsider my life, again, staring at my wall or my ceiling for a couple of hours, this is what I'm craving. So this is Elsewhere, which this cover, absolutely beautiful. Like, again, bright, colorful. This one I think is set in a isolated community. There's nothing in the background. It's an isolated community, and actually it's probably right there. Yeah, it is. And you're following either girls, wives, or mothers, and mothers will sometimes disappear, which I don't know if it's going to be some kind of metaphor about women like losing themselves in motherhood, but I think one of the themes is motherhood. And it just sounded appealing to me to following a young girl in that one, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. It's also not super thick. Unfortunately, it does have decal pages. I don't like those. I don't know why people like them. Anyway, pretty book. Hopefully the content is also really good. And then I think this is the last historical fiction / literary fiction. Also a really fun cover. This is interesting. This was the winner for the Pulitzer Prize. And this one, definitely, again, dark. I feel like literary fiction is always depressing stuff, but it makes you think. Also, unfortunately, decal pages. But this one, I believe, is inspired by the author's grandfather's life. He was a watchman, and he was carrying the fight against native dispossession from rural North Dakota all the way to Washington. So I thought this was interesting to kind of see historical fiction from like our own family. Again, very pretty, but probably going to be dark too. But also, again, Pulitzer, Booker Prize. I want to see what the hype is about, and if it's actually a list I can look to find recommendations. Burnham Wood, This author actually did also win the Booker Prize, but not for this book. This one, I was kind of confused about the premise. You're following this group of people that are kind of criminally planting crops in different places, but then there's this like natural disaster that happens and they are stuck on this like farm that is abandoned, and they decide we're going to do that here. But that farm is bought by a billionaire, and they don't know if they can trust a billionaire or not because he wants to build a bunker, which they're all so obsessed with bunkers. Anyway, the cover called my name. Sometimes there's just something about a book that you're like, you know what, I'm not sure I understand what's going to happen, but it sounds appealing to me, and not gonna lie, this might have played a role. Okay, I'll deny it, but maybe. Listen, all books should be floppy. And then the last physical book I have is this one called Wheel of the Infinite. And it is by Martha Wells, who wrote the Murderbot series, right? Which everyone has been rediscovering because of a TV show, which I couldn't finish it. Anybody else? They're so short, but the actor, I like him. I didn't like him in that role. Either way. This is an older book by her that was recently updated and revised. And the old cover, when I was looking up reviews, made me laugh because this screams like classic fantasy with magic. And I think it's like every 100 years they have to fight back for control against like evil or something, which again, very classic fantasy. And I was like, you know what? I almost wish I had this cover instead. Because I feel like it works for the content so well. Either way, I have this one. I want to try fantasy books by her. I don't think I have, well, no. I don't think I've tried any fantasy by her, but I've been meaning to. So I have this one. Unfortunately, it's the modern cover. Whatever. And I wanted to go back to complaining about the prices of books, because there are a few that I've been wanting to buy. And like, I know like technically, you know, it's my job, blah, blah, blah. But like, I read about 100 books a year. And if I were to always buy them, it would be insane with the prices. And I love to use my library as much as possible. I haven't been as good this year because I haven't been listening to audiobooks, but I did get one through Bookstore-themed, which I've mentioned. I've been looking at the new book. Is it by Laura Bates? This one. Okay, I really like her other book called Men Who Hate Women. And this is like her new book, kind of similar topic, but it was like $42. And again, I don't mind buying new books when it's an author I've enjoyed before, you know, like I will do it. Otherwise, again, I like used book shopping. I like using my library as much as possible, but I will support authors. I mean, library is still support, but I wanted to, but I couldn't do it, $42. And while I was looking at that book, I realized that this other book was available, The Women of Wild Hill, which I really enjoyed this author's other book, The Change. I liked the first like half, and that kind of lost me towards the end, but it seemed that it was going to be somewhat similar, like witches and like kind of feminism, and Bookstore-themed had it, so I was able to get it for free, which I'm super grateful for. But yeah, it was $37. I was going to get it from the library because again, I still really wanted to read it, but yeah, book prices are insane. Like, I know people have been mentioning it for a while, and myself too, but in my head, books are still like $15, $20. So when I get to the store and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it new, and you're like, oh, it's $40. I can't do it. Like, if it's a series you're already reading kind of thing, it's an author, like, sure thing, it's gonna be a 5-star, I'll do it. But like, it's a lot. I feel like I'm stuck in the position of like wanting to support the author, but at the same time, and ebooks are just as expensive. No, they're not 40, but they'll still be like 20, 15. And it's like, how is it in your country? I would love to know, because yeah, everything is super expensive, so it's not that surprising, I guess, but every time I'm shocked. That's why I'm always recommending check if your library has sales, because mine do, and it's like books are like $1 or $2, and other bookstores, used bookstores, it will be like $5, $10, sometimes $15 if it's like a brand new book kind of thing. But yeah, it's just easier stomach. I always like to include at the end the ones that I'm the most excited to read, kind of to give you an idea. Obviously, I want to learn all these flags. I'm dying to know. I feel like it's something I should have had as a kid, then I would already know all this stuff. It would have helped, you know? These two did sound really appealing. Yes, they're on the shorter side, and they will hopefully help me catch up to my goal, but like the premises sounded really cool. Same thing with this one. Again, if anything can be remotely close to I Who Have Never Known Men. And then I think this one, The Haunting. I mean, it's not going to be haunting, but, and I need to remove that freaking sticker. I'm scared that it's not going to be an easy one to, oh. Did I complain for no? It's never for no reason, okay? It was totally justified and not an overreaction at all. At least it was easy to remove. Oops. In the audiobook about the witchy women. I'm gonna start that like now. So that's it. This was my latest book haul, the latest books I have purchased. Now I'm gonna put them on my shelf ASAP because I'm trying to still get them under control. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them, which ones you think I should prioritize. I'll put on the screen a video I did about the horror books that were the best ones according to Goodreads. Out of the 80, I had read 30, so I had a lot of reviews to share. And then I'll put my latest reading vlog so you can see me actually organize this because I'm doing that now. And I'll see you then. Bye.